Hello Internet, I'm Sparkover and I'm going to play some Fisher-Price games for you and it's going to be so much fun. So we're going to start off with Fisher-Price Perfect Fit. It's a very compelling game where you have to get a shape and then you have to fit it into a different shape, except sometimes you have to rotate it and the orientation might be different from what you're expecting. Oh my gosh, it's so challenging. This game is recommended for I think ages 4 to 6 or something like that. So, oh, wait a second. I think I'm a little older than that. But let's have some fun anyway. So, timing on Perfect Fit actually starts when you get control, which is a little bit different, a little bit further in. So, I'll give you the best countdown I can. This game also has a really compelling soundtrack. Alright, so if you're ready on time, alright, it'll be 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, so you see I have these shapes, and I have to hover around the shapes and then put them on the shape. Here is a P. What does P stand for? Perfect Fit! Yes. I don't know what the G stands for. There's no G in Perfect Fit. Get out. Ah, G stands for get out. Alright. So there, puzzle 1 complete. Very good. So we have to do a few puzzles here. So we're going to get some lovely Fisher-Price TM toys here. So we've got a mixer. I don't know what that first one we got was, and then we have a really cool, cassette recorder player thing here. I swear I had one very similar to this when I was a child. So I did it! A perfect fit! And another puzzle. Here we go. Alright, so shoutouts to Fisher-Price Firehouse Rescue. I really like the cross-referencing they do there. It's very nice. And another recorder here. And of course, hot dog! We are about to finish the first set of puzzles. So there we go. I am a champion, so new game, new players, new level, new game. Alright, trying to remember how to menu our way through here. And because we're speedrunning on the second one, we just put in one type of name. And oh no, the turtle is flipped upside down. You never want to have a turtle flipped upside down because then they have trouble navigating the world and they cannot get up. So in level 2 now, we have the option to flip images both vertical and horizontal, and sometimes you need to do both. So a lot of the RNG in this game comes down to exactly how many times you're just going to need to flip your images, and then of course how you are actually able to identify which ones need flipping. Like this clock here, it needs to be rotated not once, but twice! Not a good time save. And also, you really don't want your pieces to be in the top right-hand corner, just because that's a very far distance for you to travel. So you'll notice that sometimes I am taking a little bit long to move the pieces, just because sometimes you only get control when it's fully out of the chute, which is why time started when I had control of the piece and not before that. So here when I move horizontal, that is at the first spot where I actually do gain control of the piece. Alright, so puzzle 3, I'm a champion, go. New game, mash some buttons, put in an A, scroll to the end, level 3, and we are golden. But oh my gosh, now we have to do this with 5 pieces? Can you believe it? This is going to be really challenging, folks. But you know what, I believe in myself. I believe in all of us. We can do it together. So another great tape recorder here. I'm a little sad. I haven't seen the bear yet. Can you believe it? That this game is not giving me marathon luck? I mean marathon luck? One of the two. So I totally forgot to flip that vertical, how dare I. So to finish off the level, some very cool sunglasses here, and we will hope to the Fisher-Price community that we will be seeing a bear very soon. But I see some bears in chat, how lovely. And look at that bear hype. We are going to be seeing the Fisher-Price bear shortly, whenever it decides to come out of hibernation, of course. Alright, so we've got a little Humpty Dumpty there, and here is, I think this is a record player, most likely, but sometimes identifying those. And there's our bear. Good job, little friend. You are cozy and cuddleable. And last but not least, a roller skate. I had these roller skates as a child. So one more puzzle to go after this. So time will be shortly after the final piece gets put into place. However, it has to say you are a champion for time to be official, so it'll be very soon after that. We've got a lawnmower here. This is actually some not too bad piece placement for the last level. However, I know I definitely did some early screw-ups here, but I should still be in decent pace. If I can get sub 4 in a marathon, I'm probably happy enough, so let's hope Sparko does that. Alright, so time will be coming up pretty soon, and time.
Well, we do have the time set with the estimate being both the events, but you were 3:54.
Alright.
So you were below 4.
Very good.
Yay!
Alright, everybody, and so now to move on the block, we will be it going to Fisher-Price Firehouse Rescue, which we do not need to go to transition screen to because we are right here. Now, what if I hit the right buttons? That would just be amazing, wouldn't that be? I don't know how the Nintendo works. There we go. All right. So very compelling soundtrack here. You have to sit through this screen, actually. We'll not let you go through it. So as you can see, I am very dressed well for this occasion here. I've got the Firehouse Rescue shirt on. Yes, this is important. All right, so in the speedrun, traditionally, you go from 4 to 1 just because the bad RNG is in number 4. But I'm going to start at level 1 here, and I'm just going to wait until I see the timer says 5 minutes just to get a somewhat accurate time of when this game starts. So 3, 2, 1, go! And we are off. So Fisher-Price Firehouse Rescue is a very exciting game of driving around, action adventures, navigating mazes, hand-eye coordination, and, well, rescuing a cat from a tree. So the premise of this game is pretty simple. You are in your fire truck that looks like a convertible that somebody stuck a ladder out of it for some reason. And you want to navigate these mazes to get to the nearby houses. So clearly, they say house. There's a store. We're not going to go to the store. So that's my favorite character in the game. Look at that sweater. That's a really nice sweater. Just throwing it out there. So yeah, my fire truck does not look like a fire truck. None of these houses are on fire. What are we doing here? We don't know. So the maps are getting a little bit larger now, as you can see. You can't even see the entire thing in one screen. One way you actually can save time is to drift around the corners really quickly. But if you're too fast, sometimes it'll actually get you caught in there, in the corner. So that's no good at all. Ah, my favorite character again. We should call it Cornelius. Very good name. So the beginning of the game's soundtrack was very strong. You heard that song. Though, unfortunately, in-game music is non-existent for the most part. You get the grumbling of the fire engine, and this controller's giving me a little trouble, but I believe we can get around these corners. There we go. Hear the grumbling of the fire engine, and then the rescue sounds of the humans. So ideally, you want the humans to all come out right to left for fastest, proper getting out of the house for getting a nice time. That was not the worst, just because it did lead me back to number 1 before I had to go to number 4, but that's alright. So we're going to be going on to level 2 after this. Alright, so we've been promoted and we're going to level 2. Pause! Alright, so now our maps are a lot larger at this point, but they are going to be the same for the rest of the game. So that is definitely a little bit of a rememberer's relief, but they are going to throw some wrenches into our plans. But we'll get to more of that later. For now, we're just going to be drifting around, saving some people, and perhaps if you had anything to say at this time, now would be a good time to say some words.
Of course, I could always bring up the fact that we are raising money for Extra Life. Extra Life unites thousands of gamers around the world to play games in support of their local Children's Miracle Network hospital. Ours is just in Calgary with us, where this event, or SLURPATHON, is happening. Since its inception in 2008, Extra Life has raised over $50 million US for sick and injured kids. SLURPATHON is, of course, an event held in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and, as said before, our local Children's Miracle Network is the Alberta Children's Hospital Foundation. Last year, SLURPATHON raised $1,675 US for Extra Life, and this year our goal is $2,000, and we are actually just about $45 away, a little bit less than that, from meeting last year's, and we're only like $370 away from being able to meet our current goal and potentially exceed it.
Very nice. All right, so that was actually a nice human order there. Thank you very much for being so kind as to come out in the proper order for us. I'm very happy by that. And so here is our last map. It actually gets pretty tricky closer to the final, to the level 4, when you are really aiming for that promotion for the chief of the fire department. But, you know, we're the lower ranks right now, so we have to work our way up there. Alright. So, not a very good pattern there, but that is alright. Oh, I had one more house. I, for some reason, was mashing through that to get to the next level, but I could not. Alright, so round the corner here is our last one. And, well, spoilers, this can get kind of tricky in the future. But we'll find out why later. Couple challenges will be thrown at us, as previously mentioned, but first, the final rescue. Alright, reverse order, which is, I mean, not always... You really want to see it this way to that way, but when you do get it the other way, at least you are getting them all in order without having to go back and forth a few times, so there's that. So alright, we've got our promotion to what? I missed reading that. I was mashing through it, but we've been promoted again, and now we have a new challenge. So now there is a timer, if you can see that on the bottom middle of the screen. It's counting down, and we lose if our timer hits 0. However, the maps are exactly the same as before, so we... You know, when you can remember that is definitely fine. However, I actually did play this. I introduced this game to a child that I was babysitting probably about a year or so ago, and he really did enjoy playing the mazes. But unfortunately, the timer actually, you know, did get a little bit tricky for him just because, you know, he wasn't an adult who had memorized the game. He was a child playing it for the first time. But, you know, that just goes to show you that the age range are, you know, appropriate for learning and hand-eye coordination. And his mom didn't even mind that we were playing Nintendo. She thought it was cute because, you know, again, with the hand-eye coordination and learning. Fisher-Price actually does have one more game in this series called I Can Remember. It's essentially a memory game. Unfortunately, we will not be seeing that at the Fisher-Price block this time due to some time constraints. But we will still remember it in our hearts.
If you want, I can remind everybody that we do still have a few incentives going on. Right now, we are $168 out of $300 to unlock our bonus game 3, the main event. And
I have to do that.
it definitely has to be something we want to meet. So if you can help donate to that, we're actually just over halfway there. Any donations will be greatly appreciated. And the next incentive, we are about 10% of the way there, $25 out of $250 for the Final Fantasy VI Kefka and Narsh train suplex. Always got to get a nice train suplex. Everybody who knows that suplex, it's one of the most cool, entertaining things out there, especially for the SNES. And we do also have a couple of bid wars. One for the Final Fantasy VI character names, and another, of course, for the ever classic Link to the Past and Super Metroid randomizer to save or kill the animals.
Alright, so we're going to be coming along onto the last house of the timed portion, and then we get to see what level 4 brings, the true challenge, and actually potential run killer. So we'll see how that goes. But first, the final house. Again, these maps are exactly the same as before, so with a timer it's not really too much of a concern. Around these last few corners here, and we'll see if we can rescue Cornelius. There you are. Open for number 2 and 3. Beautiful. That's about as good as we can get from that point on. And off we drive into the sunset. I don't think there's a sunset. All right, so we are now the captain of the fire department. Very true. But we still have one more challenge to go. So these houses that we were previously rescuing, now we need to collect a key to be able to rescue people out of their windows. I don't know how that works, but that is indeed how it works. So these keys can have some very tricky locations. Depending on, I mean, these keys are the reason that people decided to sort of change the rules to the game, so now you could start with level 4 first, just because the resets were so frequent in the final levels here that they decided it would be a good idea to just put it so you would do 4 first, so you could just reset first and get the really bad RNG out of the way. I don't find it so bad in the first few levels, but later on it gets tricky. Anyway, we're going to be going through the next one. I'm going to look for the key. If you've got any donations to read, now would be a good time.
We actually do have a donation, $5 from Vanny Van, and they say, Sparkle!
Hi! Why, thank you. Beautiful. So that first key was very close by to us. Not too bad. Some keys... See, generally the way that I play this is I still will just go towards the house that I'm headed to and hope to see a key, because again, if you're going for PB attempts, then that is really what you need to hope for. If I happen to not see it, that is when I start to panic. And this is where we start to panic. It's probably close to the beginning here somewhere, though. There it is. See, that spot is just a bugger because, again, like, you know, there should be a back alley here to get to that house, but no, we have to take a very twisty-turny route around the entire place. So, people do question who has designed these streets before, and it's a very good question.
I mean, you probably can't go through the back alley because it is a it's supposed to be a fire truck. I don't think they'd fit through those little narrow pathways.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's an emergency. Who cares if I knock down their shed? Maybe this is why I'm not the chief of the fire department yet. I don't have proper logic. Oh, nice. So very close key there. That is, like, one of the optimal locations. Like, one of the best ones you can get without not having the... you know, having to go out of your way. Some of them can be right on the path. Though this map can be notorious for just ruining a run, just because some places really do put it so far away that it's pretty much impossible to get the key and then come back if you don't know where it is right away. But we are leading to the beginning of the final stretch here. Do you think I can get my promotion? I want to believe in myself. First, we need to find the key. And it's there, which looks great, but, you know, again, no cross streets here or anything. We have to go all the way around, but you know what? For a marathon, I will take it. If I can see it right away, that's usually good enough. So from here, I will go this way. Having the maps memorized the way that you need to go to get to the houses is a lot different from having the maps memorized all together to know backup strats for when a key is where you don't want it to be. But here we are on the final house now, so time will be after we move from this screen to the chief, where, you know, I get my promotion. How are we doing? Oh, I'm definitely going to be under Firehouse, or Fisher Price estimate. Beautiful. Alright, so when I drive off the screen and it changes to say chief, it will be time and time. Ta-da!
Congratulations!
I am now the chief of the fire department and I can retire. Thank you so much for joining us today, everybody. We're going to get kicking off to the next run, which is Thomas and Friends?
Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends by the Assassinathan.
Beautiful. All right, well, thank you, everybody. We'll see you again soon.
See ya!